Hey there, dirt bike people. I'm Chuck from TrueTech, and today we're going to talk about clutch pull. These types of questions I get asked all the time. My clutch is dragging. How do I get an easier clutch pull? My clutch is too far away. I have to pull my clutch all the way in to get it to disengage. My bike stalls when I'm going downhill. Usually that's a clutch problem. What about a Midwest lever or a Clake? As always, we're going to talk about concepts. We're going to understand the ideas behind the problem so that we can come up with an effective solution that works for us as individuals. So first we're going to talk about how the clutch actually works. So here we have the clutch outer hub. That is mated to a gear on the back of it, and then a smaller gear. So this is the larger gear, smaller one. Over here we have the main pinion gear, or the crank gear, and it's basically on the end of the crankshaft. When your engine is running, the outer clutch hub is spinning all the time. Now, that clutch has a shaft running through it. That shaft is connected to the transmission. You have the main shaft, and then you have the secondary or the output shaft. It's critical to understand that the outer hub is not connected to that primary shaft. Then what we have is the inner hub. The inner hub spins freely of the outer hub, and it is connected via the clutch plates. Clutch plates alternate back and forth. Half of them are connected to the outer hub and half of them are connected to the inner hub. Then over here we have the pressure plate. The pressure plate pushes on the clutch springs, and when it does so, the outer basket is then mated to the inner basket, and when the inner basket spins, the transmission spins. Now the thing that keeps that pressure plate pushing on these clutch plates is literally the clutch springs, and those are in here. So when the inner basket or the inner hub is spinning, that is when your transmission is engaged. Now that's a really complicated drawing, and I want you to understand it, but at the end of the day, what it all boils down to is you have a spring and a lever that is pushing on that spring. And it doesn't matter whether it's hydraulic or a cable, it's all about leverage between your lever and the spring. As with any lever, you can either get more throw and an easier pull, or you can get less throw and a harder pull. Now, if you have more throw, you're also going to get more modulation ability, but the drawback is that if you have this much throw, you may not be able to get your clutch to fully engage or disengage at either end. At this point, I need to stress there is no magic. It all comes down to leverage. If you get a lighter pull, you get a longer throw. It doesn't matter if it's a hydraulic clutch or a cable clutch, it's all the same. You're either going to get more throw with an easier pull, or you're going to get less throw with a stiffer pull. If your throw is small, you're going to have a stiff pull. If your throw is large, you're probably going to struggle with dragging or slipping. This is why a lot of master cylinders come in either a 9 or a 10 millimeter. So how it works with hydraulics is you have a master cylinder with a piston in it. If you have a larger diameter master cylinder, it's going to move more fluid. Then you have a hydraulic line, and then you have a caliper with the piston. How stiff the clutch pull is going to be directly affected by the diameter of this master cylinder in relation to the volume of the displacement of these caliper pistons. So typically, the more pistons you have in your caliper, the more feel you get out of your brake or your clutch. For example, if you want to get less grab out of your brake system, you can either put a larger caliper on or you can put a smaller master cylinder on. That's going to mean that you're going to need to pull more to get the same amount of braking power. This is something that mountain bikers are intimately familiar with. Now let's talk about the Clake for a minute. The Clake is a little bit of a unique example. The Clake clutch uses a cam system with a spring assist. The spring is pulling. The assisting spring helps you pull the clutch lever in, and that's why it gets easier. Now, a cam is needed so that when the clutch is all the way out, the clutch actually stays all the way out and doesn't start to engage the master cylinder. You cannot have the master cylinder engaged at all, because if you do, then the fluid in the line is now locked, and as it expands and contracts, it's going to cause either slipping or dragging. And anytime that you add mechanical components to a system, that system is going to become less reliable, and the Clake is no exception. Now I remember when the Midwest Mountain Engineering lever came out, I was working at Langs Off-Road in Ontario, and this was a pretty cool idea, so I got one for my KTM. And there is no denying that the clutch pull on a Midwest lever is way less than the stock one. And it's less than a 9 mil or a 10 mil master cylinder. Many pro hard enduro riders and amateurs as well prefer a 9 mil master over a 10 mil. You get an easier pull, You get more modulation at the expense of potentially having a clutch that drags at low RPM or when the clutch is all the way in, and may slip when you have the lever out. It's really nice to have the options that Brembo offers, and then you got BrakeTech and Magura in there as well. Now, like I say, this was early days with fancy clutch levers on hydraulic systems, and I read the instructions carefully, and I was well aware that I needed to put a bit of time into tuning that Midwest lever so that it wouldn't drag or slip. I had it on my 2013 300 XCW. It was an early DDS clutch, and I spent a whole day riding, keeping my little Allen key handy, and I made adjustments. I'd go into the woods and do tight sections and then make adjustments so that it wouldn't drag. And then I'd go out onto faster sections and make adjustments so that it wouldn't slip. And what I found at the end of the day was that there was no adjustment at which I could both start my bike in gear with the clutch in and go out onto the road and do a wheelie. No matter what I did, I could not start my bike in gear with the clutch in and also go out and do a wheelie. My clutch would slip too much while doing a wheelie, while simultaneously dragging so badly that I couldn't start my bike. Now, I'm well aware that this is not something that happens with every bike. I see tons of bikes with Midwest levers and they work just fine. This is a perfect example. This is my buddy Jan's bike. He has carpal tunnel and he loves this Midwest lever. Yeah, the bike drags a little. It doesn't slip. He has it set up pretty well. It is a practical solution for his needs. However, it does take a lot of adjustment and you have to do that with an Allen wrench, so you have to carry some tools with you. I want to make sure that I stress every bike is a little bit different. On some bikes, the Midwest lever works just fine, and on other bikes, there's no way to adjust it so that it doesn't drag and doesn't slip. Here's a quick example why. I have a whole bunch of DDS springs. These are out of KTMs, obviously. And I was talking with the excellent tech support at Recluse one day, and they told me that early on in the DDS days, they bought a variety of DDS clutch springs, or Belleville springs, and rate tested them. And they saw up to a 25% variance in DDS springs that were the exact same part number. And that's just one of the factors that plays into how well a certain lever is going to work for your bike. So one of the things that you can do if you're switching bikes often, or if you get a new bike every year or every other year, is keep your old DDS spring, and it's going to make the clutch pull more consistent. Conical springs are also very sensitive to how much preload is on them. And it's kind of backwards. The more preload that's on a conical spring, the easier it is to pull. Now, one of the natural things that happens in a clutch, obviously, is that the plates wear a little bit. And as they wear, the clutch pack shrinks slightly. As it shrinks, that conical spring is going to have less preload on it, making the clutch pull stiffer over time. During use, that clutch pack is also going to expand and contract a little bit. So there are a ton of variables that go into how stiff and how modulatable that clutch lever is. This is one of the reasons that some of the pro riders and some amateur riders prefer a cable clutch, Tomac being a great example. We've got this YZ or WR in the corner here, and it's a perfect example. It's got this quick adjuster on it. Now, if you watch closely, Supercross and motocross, you will sometimes see that while riders are in the air, they'll quickly go for an adjustment on that knob up front there. So the rate and the preload on these clutch springs is literally what we are battling when we pull that clutch lever. If we go with stiffer springs, we get more grab on our clutch plates. But what we sacrifice is a nice easy pull. If we go lighter, we get an easy pull. But what we sacrifice is potentially slipping plates. So the springs are literally what is responsible for holding these plates together and transferring the drive from the motor to the transmission. Ultimately, the problem that we're trying to overcome is how stiff those clutch springs are. Now, throughout a moto or throughout a race or just a weekend ride, the clutch is going to be changing. It's going to be expanding and contracting, hotter, cooler, and with a quick adjust cable, you can account for that. With the Midwest lever, you can get out your Allen key and account for that. With a stock lever, you can adjust this a little bit, but the adjustment is minimal. Now, a few weeks ago, I got an email from Altrider. They make levers and such. Basically, they were asking me to test out one of their levers, and my initial question was, what's the difference between the Midwest lever and the Altrider lever? Of course, understanding that this is all just a leverage game, and once you find the perfect amount of leverage, you can't really go too much further than that. However, they have an interesting upgrade to the Midwest lever. So first off, the packaging is really nice. And I also noticed that the quality of the manufacturing is also Excellent. This feels to me like it's going to be a really comfortable lever on my fingers. Now, I don't know if I'm going to run it like this or like this, but I'm going to try it. The functional difference between this and a Midwest lever is that it's got a quick adjuster on it, and that is super cool. Basically, this means that I don't have to get out an Allen key every time I want to adjust it. I can literally adjust it on the fly while I'm riding. I also like that it's wider. It's one of the things that I really like about the Midwest lever is how it feels on my finger. This one's also a little bit more rounded than the Midwest lever. Obviously, they've put a huge amount of thought and effort into how this lever is shaped. Also got a front brake to match, and it's also got a quick adjuster on it. And one of the things that I really appreciated when I had my conversation with the guys at Altrider, that they weren't trying to hide anything. Really, to the contrary, they wanted to make sure that I understood and that their audience understands that this is a leverage game. The clutch springs are what we're trying to overcome. We can't go too far in either direction, and we want to optimize that leverage ratio, and it should be easy to do that, which is really why that quick adjuster is so critical. That's such an important aspect of having a lever, because each bike is going to be different, and it is going to take a bit of tuning time, and that may change throughout a ride or over the course of the life of the clutch. So I'm going to try this lever on my bike. Honestly, I'm very happy with the stock clutch lever, the clutch pull, the adjustability of it, and I am kind of a slow adopter, but that shouldn't stop me from trying new things, because there is a very real possibility that I'm going to love this lever, and I'm not worried about breaking it because I run full wraps. So today I'm going to put this lever on, and then over the next probably couple months, I'm going to be testing it. Now, if you guys have seen my testing and review videos, you should be well aware by now that it's not so much whether I like it or not, it's much more about what type of rider this product is going to best suit. Like I say, I have huge, large fingers. I wear triple or quadruple extra large gloves, so that might be a pro or a con. I'm not sure yet. Always be careful. There's a spring back here, and on the Brembos there's a spring and like a little pin. That's absolutely critical that it's there and that it's not damaged. If this is bent at all, what often happens is it keeps the lever just slightly engaged and keeps just a little bit of pressure on that master cylinder piston. And like I mentioned earlier, that's going to keep the fluid locked in the line, and it's going to create slippage in your clutch when the bike gets warm. Anytime that I have my lever off, or any lever off, I like to make sure that it's clean and lubricated when I put it back together. That can make such a big difference in how the lever feels if everything is lubricated, or if you have a cable clutch, if the cable is getting old, it's amazing how much easier a new cable can make your clutch pull. A little bit of grease. You don't want too much because obviously it's going to attract dirt, but that is why we clean things. So now, okay, I think I gotta pull this out here. Yeah, that makes sense. Pull that little ball thing out in order for the Altrider pin to go in. Make sure that this goes in the hole. Now I'm gonna take this little spring and put it in its hole, and I've got a nice little bit of lube on that pivot. So then I'm gonna put this nut on the bottom. Let's see, how's it feel? Oh yeah, that's very nice. Wow. I'm not 100% sure if that's lighter or not. It's definitely very smooth. It's probably lighter. Oh man, it feels very, very smooth. Now, like I say, I have super long fingers. Let's see how this adjuster works. Oh wow, you can see it. It just, turning this adjuster, which is very easy, brings that lever further in towards the bar. So if you have short fingers, that could be a big thing for you. Now, I'm just gonna push it out like this. I'll put it to the max. Oh, that's probably where I'm going to run it. Oh, wow, that's got to be easier. It feels really good. You got to make sure that there's a little bit of free play. There's always got to be free play. I'm just going to put this back on there. Oh yeah, that's easier. Okay, now let's go do the brake. So the brake side, the adjuster is different. This is a jam nut. Again, I'm just going to clean everything, put in a thin film of lube, lube my pin. Don't forget the little spring. Very simple to install. Jam nut on the back. I'm going to put this over. Now again, I have very long fingers, so I'm going to adjust this thing quite a ways out. And then this is the lock nut. Oh, interesting. This one, man, I might adjust the brake more than the clutch. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm going to swing my leg over, not grabbing either one. And now I'm going to grab them and see how it feels. Oh, wow, it feels very different. Okay, so I've never said this before, but I think my brake lever is too far away. So I'm just going to crack the jam nut, pull it in a little closer. A little Oh yeah, that feels better. Okay, now I'm just gonna lock the jam nut. I'm wondering if that jam nut is gonna come loose as I ride, but we shall see. The fact that I pulled that lever in after setting it out all the way tells you, I mean, look at the size of these things. I'm 6'4". These fingers are ridiculously long. It's very annoying buying gloves because I usually can't find ones big enough. There's so much adjustment on these levers that I actually had to pull it in, which is very weird. Now, clutch lever, that one will, man, I got to ride that one on the trail before I'm going to know how the adjustment is, and I'm definitely going to do that. But for now, this feels really good. I'll report back. So a big thanks to Altrider for sending me these levers. Like I say, right from the packaging, right to install and the way that the levers feel, they're clearly a very high quality product. And the quick adjusters are definitely a game changer because making those adjustments is so critical and it can change from time to time. So I do think that is a significant improvement over the Midwest lever. So I'm gonna bring this right up there. So you can pause the video if you want and scan that QR code. Also put a link in the description so that if you want one, you can buy one. It's not an affiliate link. I don't get any money from it. They did send me those levers, but there's no sponsorship or anything like that. So at the end of the day, I want to reiterate, there is no magic potion. When the manufacturers design their products, you know that they're very well aware that what we're ultimately doing is overcoming that clutch spring pressure. If we have stiffer clutch springs, we get better engagement, but obviously our fingers suffer. If we go with an easier pull, it doesn't matter how we get it, we have to go with a longer stroke. And for someone with huge hands, that can work. With someone with short fingers, it often doesn't. Brembo already comes out with a 9 and a 10 millimeter so that we can make those adjustments. You can get different conical springs for the DDS clutch. The manufacturer has already built in a series of adjustments that the rider can make. In addition to that, we have aftermarket options like the Clake, the Midwest lever, the Altrider lever. I think that the advantages of having a quick adjuster on your levers is kind of a no-brainer. The Clake definitely gives you a very easy pull. The downside of that is that you have a bunch of mechanical components, so it's the least reliable option of them all. At the end of the day, if you understand the concepts, then you can manipulate the system so that it best suits you and your riding style. If you like the idea of understanding the concepts, that's what we do over at the TrueTech community. I'll put a link in the description. You can find my courses. I got a tire change course. I got a suspension course. It's very detailed. My latest course is an applied electrical course. It's interactive. There's a great community of people of all different skill levels. I'm actively involved. I'm on there every day. If you want to communicate directly with me, the TrueTech community is the way to do that. Thanks a lot for watching.